All right, we got YouTuber accused of kidnapping two women. They talking about CoreySSG. This going on the Jazz7.7 channel. I've been hearing about this a little bit. I haven't actually watched the full video on it. I think besides hitting up Mac Mula, I'll be watching his videos like DJOs and stuff like that. But they talking about CoreySSG kidnapping two women. Now I think Brody might have been set up. Let me know in the comments if you think he was set up or not. And drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Join the fam. But Corey might have been set
A
up. Let's see what
popular
they talking about.
YouTuber once known for his family vlogging.
Look, come on, Daddy. Come on. Can't get over here.
They really had said they got the FBI looking for bro. They saying this dude right here
Now accused of
chilling up.
kidnapping two women.
Brody is chilling in the pool with his kids. They talk about he kidnapped two women. I don't know, bro. I don't really believe it. I think he was set up.
But the story
I think he
doesn't
was
end
set
there.
up.
Authorities say the Texas-based content creator fled the United States by booking a one-way ticket and hopping on a nearly 20-hour flight all the way to the Middle East. So how did a man with
Brody went
millions
straight to
of social
Dubai.
media followers end up charged with aggravated kidnapping? Well, it all began on November 22nd. That's when a woman exchanged numbers with 26-year-old Corey Pritchett Jr. The woman told authorities the following day she and another woman met up with Pritchett. They did some pretty harmless activities like working out, ATV riding, then bowling. But it was at the bowling alley where things took an intense turn. While
Now, does that sound like a kidnapping though? If you go into workout with somebody, they say, what else they do? They went to a bowl. Like it doesn't. That don't sound like a kidnapping, but hey,
there, the two women
that'd be
felt like
pretty
something
weird.
was off when Pritchett and his two friends started acting strange. The women told police they were repeatedly looking around, seemed on edge, and were acting suspicious. The unnamed women told police they learned Pritchett and his friends were having issues with
That little
another
shirt was
group that
not
was
it.
there at the bowling alley. So they reportedly told Pritchett if he continued acting that way, he should just leave with his friends. Pritchett in turn stepped out with his friends, but never returned, leaving the women behind. After some time, the women texted him because they left their stuff in his car. So he asked them to meet at the HEB grocery store parking lot to get their stuff back. When the two women showed up, he switched gears and offered to drive them home, and they said yes. But according to the women, Pritchett flipped the script once again. During that drive, he reportedly began acting erratically and skipped what was supposed to be the route to drop them off. The women say Pritchett claimed someone was after him and started making phone calls. Then Pritchett began driving at high speeds, going past 100 miles per hour. The women claim he pulled out a gold-colored handgun and started waving it around the sunroof while still driving erratically fast. Then
That just sounds. That just sounds sus as heck though. Cause okay, he offered y'all a ride home. Y'all could have just left right then and there and got y'all stuff out the car, but y'all didn't. And even though y'all thought he was being weird and suspicious, he offered you a ride home and you say, yeah. If I thought a dude was being weird, I ain't, whether he offered me a ride home or not, I'm taking a Uber.
off rounds out of the car window. One of the women reportedly told Pritchett to take her back to her apartment and try to calm him down by asking him to pray with them. But he still continued driving crazy fast down the I-10 highway. Pritchett then made a video call to a woman reportedly saved in his phone under future wife. He asked the woman on the call, if I had the perfect opportunity and was in the middle of nowhere where no one could hear them scream, should I just go ahead and do it? And the woman on the line reportedly
What the
responded,
heck?
yes. For the women in Pritchett's car, though, they were seemingly in fear of their lives. The women told police that Pritchett told them, I'm gonna F y'all and then kill y'all. By this point, the women said they
Nah.
were texting one another during all of this. But authorities say Pritchett then started pointing the gun at them and took their phones away so they couldn't communicate with each other. According to police, Pritchett then pulled off the highway onto the shoulder of I-10 near Sealy, Texas. Seemingly with a change of heart, he told the women to get out of his car, telling them this is your only opportunity. One of the
Okay, so he gave them another option to get out the car though. I don't know, bro. This sound weird as heck. It sounds so weird because I'm like, for one, if y'all thought he was being like a weirdo, why'd you get back in his car? And then on top of that, I don't know. If you thought he was being weird, why didn't you just take a Uber home? That's what I don't get. And then why didn't they call the police or something while they was in the car with him? If they felt like they was in danger, call the police, text the police. It just sounds off as heck.
Women said she tried to get her phone back but wasn't able to. Then Pritchett drove off, leaving them stranded on the side of the road at night. The women told police they spent more than an hour along the side of the highway before they were able to flag down a driver who called 911. But clues.
So at that point, they got out. I'm trying to understand though. So he took their phones. They did end up getting out the car. I think after this video, Corey probably got his own video up about a response to this, so we're gonna probably watch his too.
Pieced together by investigators would help corroborate their story. One of the women had the Life 360 app on her phone, and screenshots, which included timestamps and the route they took, supported the victim's story of what happened. Pritchett was
That makes
ID'd through his
sense. That's
driver's
smart.
license and social media pages. But when investigators reached out to him, his phone was no longer in service. Instead, they found out through TikTok that he was planning to move to Dubai.
Sheesh.
I moved to Dubai. The people just want feel so good out here. My kids, listen. So I'm having.
Imagine though, if bro really did this, that is too funny that he was like, I'm out of here, straight to Dubai, bro. Like, own that. He out of there. That's
I'm
crazy.
having more kids, right? With my future wife, for sure. And Aiden, my kids are gonna be homeschooled, bro. It's getting real wicked in the United States. A lot of y'all not paying attention because a lot of y'all sleep, and the news outlets are not speaking on a lot of that's going on there. It's gonna get real over there. Y'all might think I'm lying. Y'all might think I'm just talking. Y'all seen other people probably saying it, but you know people don't believe until the shit hit the fan.
That's
That's what
facts.
I got noticed about most people in the United States. They want to party, live life, until it hit the fan. When it hit the fan, and everybody like, oh, they want to scatter. No.
But according to the FBI, they confirmed Pritchett bought a one-way ticket to Qatar on December 9th.
That's facts.
A
So the
little
world
more
getting
than
crazy.
2 weeks later, after buying that one-way plane ticket, Pritchett was officially charged on December 26th with 1 count of aggravated kidnapping. I want to give a huge thanks to you, our viewers, and our amazing sponsors like Upside. Upside is a super cool and free app that gets you cash back on daily essentials.
I ain't doing that though, mamas. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that.
Promo code along with the caption, "Letter to the internet, it's finna be a ball. Let the show begin, hashtag Houston, Texas. Let me show you how to take monsters down the hashtag smooth way. You see it says accused, right? Don't worry, LOL. I'm finna give you the details on here and in the court of law. They're gonna regret effing with me like I'm just some goofy or some. Oh, and I got the best lawyer in Houston." A day later, he posted a video with the victims as they were ATV riding. That video was captioned tagging Houston PD as he wrote in part, "We have a case here of popular YouTuber CoreySSG kidnapping 2 white girls, and he's currently on the run in Dubai, I think.
It was 2
IDK,
white girls?
but yeah, the FBI should be after him." A pretty wild case that is now ranging across 2
Hold on, what that say?
The FBI should be after.
Okay, so we have a case here of a popular YouTuber, CoreySSG, kidnapping 2 white girls, and he's currently on the run in Dubai. I think. I don't know. But yeah, the FBI should be after him. Here's the details. By the way, he just released an album called Reborn Motion. Bro is a troll.
After him. A pretty wild case that is now ranging across 2 completely different countries that are thousands of miles away from one another. So let's bring on retired FBI agent Colin Schmidt to get his thoughts on this. Colin, thank you so much for joining me today. You know, what is your reaction to this case, from Pritchett's alleged erratic behavior to trapping these 2 women allegedly in his car and leaving them stranded on the side of the road?
They don't sound trapped though. I mean, he asked them, for one, he let them get their stuff out. And it sounded like he was being nice and be like, hey, I could take you home. But for one, as a grown woman, if you think a guy's being weird, you gonna always have some money on your phone to call a Uber. If I ain't learned nothing else in my adult life, when you dealing with guys can be weird as heck. Always have money on you to be able to take a Uber, maybe some cash, or take a freaking taxi home, whatever the case. But it's not like they have that opportunity multiple times. And I don't know what happened in the car, what that conversation was. It wasn't like we was there, but something must have happened to where he was like, no, y'all gotta get out. But also, he probably felt like he was getting set up. It sounds like a setup to me. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Then later fleeing off to Qatar.
Well, I think
He
the
said, I'm
first thing
out
for
of there.
investigators is kind of look at the totality of the circumstances and look at the big picture, as well as look at credibility of who the the complainants are, as well as what's really going on here between these two people, and that's based upon the recent instances of YouTubers or bloggers or social media influencers faking their own kidnappings. So to
Vicky, well,
prevent a
Vicky.
waste of resources, they have to just take a step back and kind of look at the big picture. And then, of course, if there is some merit to this, then they're going to have to kind of dig in and find out exactly what really went on between these two.
And investigators also say that, GPS data from Life 360, which was an app that was on one of the women's phones, that helped corroborate.
That helped with the story. So they can't say, I mean, he can't say they wasn't with him. So I don't think he's going to
Tell me
deny
about how
that.
investigators use that type of data to kind of piece together, or at least verify these types of allegations.
Well, in this case, the victim made it easy for law enforcement to track her because they did have the Life 360 app on there. I'm familiar with the app. It's fantastic. And I have used it with my kids as well. So if that wasn't on there, the first step with all these cases, and even if it's a bank robbery or a fraud case, is going to be the phones, and to look in to see if there's any GPS data, tracking data in that phone, to find out and to corroborate what the victim is saying that the assailant did.
Yeah, and it's also, unclear right now, but from what we do know now, do you think the erratic behavior on Pritchett's behalf might have been someone actually after him, as he had told these women allegedly? Or do you think there's another reason, possibly like drugs, that kind of made him act erratically during this whole incident?
Well, with the limited information, available, you'd be speculating on why he was acting so erratic. So when somebody's acting erratic, there's some a catalyst or some sort of antecedent that make them do that. So either it's something internal or external.
Yeah, he probably felt threatened. That's why I was saying, like, them girls possibly, now I wasn't there. It kind of sounds like they're trying to set him up or something. That's kind of why somebody's saying, hey, take me to my house, take me this place, take me that place, a place where he never been. And somebody could be sitting there waiting for him. So you never know. You got to be careful with people, especially nowadays. Everybody's scamming, everybody trying to get an upper leg on somebody else. So you gotta be careful. But like, if he felt threatened or felt like he was about to get set up, that makes sense that he would act like that. So, but besides that, I'm like, yeah, if he, I don't know, it's weird of him to be trying to just kidnap two women. That's weird as heck.
And
Especially being as popular
that's
as
one
he
thing
is.
that's
Why
going
would
to
he
come
have
out,
to kidnap
so
some
to speak, in
girls?
the wash as the investigators do their investigation and start talking to people and find out why he was behaving in such an odd manner. And then the fact that he fled to Qatar, which is kind of an unusual country to go to, because of it. I doubt he speaks Arabic. Does he have some sort of connection to that country?
Yeah, and I was also, going to ask you what your thoughts are on him fleeing to Qatar. What all goes into extraditing a kidnapping suspect? And in your opinion, how long do you think it'll take before he's actually back in the United States?
One thing I would say, I don't think that's weird for him to go to Dubai. Like, rich people go there all the time. So I'm like, yeah, he probably do got friends out there in Dubai. He probably hanging out, chilling with them. So you never know. I don't think
Well,
that's a
first
weird
things, if
place to
we
go
have
if you got the
extradition with
money.
Qatar, I'm not aware
If I
whether we
could,
do
I would
or
go
don't
Bora
for that
Bora.
particular crime, because extradition is crime specific. Some crimes are extraditable, some aren't. And then the extradition process is generally very long, and takes at least a year to 2 years. Generally, what the authorities do is they just have the country expel or deport the person that's there. It's a much faster process,
Mm.
unless the person has some sort of citizenship with that country. And I doubt this gentleman has any citizenship with Qatar.
And do you think that trip was planned this whole time, or do you think he kind of did it as an escape to escape those now criminal charges that he's facing? Because I can't imagine, leaving your children behind to go start a new life in a completely different country and just, leave them behind in Texas.
Well, if he was going to Mexico, I would say there wasn't a lot of thought put into it, because obviously it's just right over the border. But to take an international flight, I mean, you have to fly through an international hub, whether it be Houston or Los Angeles or New York, and then make a couple of connections to get to Qatar. So, and then of course the flight itself is pretty expensive, and then there is going to be some scrutiny on him on when he lands through the authorities there in Qatar. So there had to be some sort of planning to go into it, because like I said, he's just not driving his car over the border going down to Mexicali. He's going
That's true. It's not like he was like really running. I don't know. It's weird as heck.
to a foreign country, and it's approximately an 18-hour flight.
Yeah, and booking that one-way ticket as well too. I can't even imagine kind of going back to this alleged crime as well. Can't imagine what it was like for these two women who were stranded on that highway until they were able to flag down a driver who eventually called 911, and then authorities arrived as well too. But, kind of going back to the overall alleged offense in this case, what do you kind of make of just leaving two women stranded on a highway, and then just again fleeing off to a completely different country?
One thing I want to say though, as women, do not be so quick to just hang out with any dude. If you catching a weird vibe, it don't matter how much money he got, whatever the case, do not be so quick to just hang out with them. You never know. Guys be weird as heck. But also, always have some money on you. Don't give up your phone. I don't know. It's like, why did y'all get back in the car with him? I'm trying to understand, because I'm like, it sounds like y'all friends. If y'all been hanging out all day, I'm just like, what would the switch up be? It just out of nowhere. I'm like, he would have had to feel like he was getting set up, because that's the only reason I could think of him trying to take somebody's phone, pointing a gun at them, stuff like that, and then just leaving them. Because based off his videos, at least, and you can't, get to know everybody by a video, but Corey don't seem like that type of dude to do that stuff.
Well, that tells me that there wasn't much thought put into this. It sounds more like this was an impulse crime. He was reacting to some sort of something maybe the women had done to him, or vice versa, and this was reaction, and he didn't think it through. And then I think finally it kind of dawned on him that what he had done is basically going to land him in jail, and he essentially panicked, kicked him out or put him on the side of the road, and then obviously left the country. So he's definitely has a lot going on inside his head, and this case is only going to probably get stranger as the investigators dig in.
Yeah, and you mentioned something earlier in our discussion, just about his whole social media persona, which is kind of another added layer to this whole entire story. Pritchett has millions of followers across different social media platforms, but then you tack on this alleged behavior and this alleged or this crime as well too. What do you make of all of that, given that he was this kind of apparent rise on social media, and then he got kind of famous as well too, doing family content, and then for this to kind of come out? What do you make of just kind of that Jekyll and Hyde situation that we're kind of
Yeah,
seeing
that
all
don't even make
unfold?
sense.
Well, that's from where I started with this, that because of his social media presence, law enforcement is going to have to kind of dig in and kind of determine what the motive behind this was. Maybe he had no intent of harming these women. He was just doing this for the classic clicks, or like I said, he had something going on in his life that made him panic. But it seems like there's such in society now, there's such a intense pressure to get quote unquote clicks, that we see these social media people doing some amazingly stupid and abhorrent things. And frankly,
That is true. I will say that. Like the whole situation with Lil Vicky, even I think she tried to say she had got kidnapped. That's another thing. We could probably react to it, but I don't know. I don't think he was even recording that day. I probably only watched a couple little clips about this. I'm like, I don't. I feel like bro would have made that vlog and that would have cleared this all up. I don't know. It just seemed like they was hanging out and something went left.
I think law enforcement and the society as a whole is really kind of getting tired of it, and the hammer is starting to fall on these people for their
Yeah.
behaviors.
Now,
Don't do
say
it for the
Pritchett makes
clout.
it
It's
back
not
to the
worth it.
United States. He's facing this kidnapping charge. How long of a, potential sentence or punishment do you think that he could be facing now?
Well, if the federal authorities get involved, I believe it's a you could get up to life in prison for kidnapping. So
Dang.
depending on the circumstances, and if
Life in prison for kidnapping?
if it's provable. In this case, he didn't take the victims over state lines, so there's an argument that it's not a federal
Dang.
crime. However, there is a kidnapping statute in Texas. So, and Texas has a pretty aggressive law enforcement culture there. So he's going to be facing some jail time if it turns out that this was legitimate kidnapping and these women are willing to testify.
Dang,
All
that's
right. Well,
sick.
Colin, I want to thank you so much for joining me and giving me insight into this case.
Now imagine, bro, getting life in prison for this. That's messed up. Dang. I hope he didn't really kidnap these girls. I hope that wasn't his motive. It sounded like he was just probably scared, like he's about to get set up or something. So that would make sense that he would point the gun at them and take their phones. But that's the only reason. Anything other than that, it don't make sense to do this at all. But hey, y'all drop a like, comment, subscribe on this video. Let's hop into the next one.